Lay out your jamb with the cutouts for the hinge on the same side. Use a mallet or hammer to insert the 5mm spring pins into the smaller hole on each end of the board on your side jamb next to the hinges. Align the side jamb with the top jamb and threshold. Secure both top jamb and threshold pieces to the side jambs using confirmed mat screws. Secure the non-hinge side jamb to the top jamb and threshold with 2 confirm mat screws. On an outswing installation, you will use a 1.5-inch countersink bit to countersink the outside of the 6 stop molding holes in the non-hinge side jamb and the 3 stop molding holes in the top jamb. Partially insert 6 8x1/4 inch wood screws into the holes you just countersank so that just the tip of the screw is protruding. Align the stop side molding so that the partially drilled holes in the stop molding are aligned with the tips of the screws. Clamp each end of the stop molding and fully tighten the end screws. Fully tighten the center screw. Repeat at the bottom. Repeat on the top stop jamb. Ensure that the corner of the stop molding is properly aligned before securing. Tilt the jamb into the rough opening. The hinge cutouts sit closest to the front edge of the jamb. Make sure the threshold and jamb sides are level and plumb. Use shims as needed. These should be placed at the jamb screw holes for best results. Additional shims may be needed along the hinge side jamb in line with the top and bottom jamb to stabilize it as the lag screws are secured. Secure the jamb using the 3-inch lag screws provided. There should be 3 lag screws in each side jamb and 2 in the top jamb. We will now attach the top and bottom jamb hinge plates. Note that the hinge plate with the narrower diameter bearing socket goes on top, while the hinge plate with the wider diameter bearing goes on bottom. For an in-swing door, attach the bottom jamb hinge plate so that the bearing faces the outside of the jamb. For an outswing, attach the hinge plate so that the bearing faces the inside of the jamb. Now attach the top jamb hinge plate so the bearing is oriented in the same direction as the bottom. Before installation, inspect the door for a curve or bow. If the door is bowed, this can be corrected using the internal straightening hardware. To do so, lay the door on its hinge side edge and look down the length of it. If the ends of the door are bowing towards the front, use the included 4mm hex wrench. Insert it into the small opening at the top or bottom of the door and rotate clockwise until the door is straight up to 4 full rotations. If the door is bowed toward the back, rotate counterclockwise. Doors wider than 32 inches will have 2 sets of this hardware. For an in-swing door, you will attach the hinge plate to the outermost set of pre-drilled holes. Today we are installing an outswing door, so we will attach the hinge plate to the innermost pre-drilled holes. Orient the top hinge plate with the pivot point towards the outer edge of the door and attach it using the 18mm Euro screws. Now, orient the bottom hinge plate with the pivot point towards the outer edge of the door and attach the bottom hinge plate to match the position of the top hinge plate. With the door oriented into the open position, set it in the jamb. Align the bottom hinge pin with the bearing and set it in place. Depress the button in the top hinge pin to retract the balls and insert it into the top hinge pin housing and bearing in the top jamb hinge plate. Using a 3/8 wrench or adjustable wrench, tighten the bottom hinge pin down. This will lift the door and allow you to set the spacing between the top and bottom of the door and the jamb. Once you have the top and bottom spacing where you want it, tighten the set screw against the hinge pin. The set screw is most effective if it can press against one of the flat surfaces on the bottom hinge pin used to adjust the height. Attach the interior pull handle to the recessed surface on the side of the door. Make sure the front edge of the handle is flush with the front of the door. Now you can finish your wall according to your preferences and the style of your home.